Hello Excel lovers, welcome back to Training Alpha, and today we are diving deep into the world of Excel interview questions and answers. Whether you are preparing for a job interview, looking to brush up your Excel skills, or simply curious about what employers are seeking, this video is your ultimate guide. We have created 24 practical questions from extensive research, each with a detailed answers and explanation, designed to simulate real-world scenarios you might encounter in an interview. From basic functions to advanced formula, pivot tables, and data analysis techniques, we've got you covered every step of the way. But wait, there is more. We've also conducted extensive research to compile 12 oral questions commonly asked in Excel interviews, along with expert answers and tips to help you ace your interview with confidence. Whether you are a beginner looking to land your first Excel-related job or a seasoned pro aiming for that next career leap, this video is packed with invaluable insights to help you succeed. Alright, let's jump right into it. But first, make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment below if you find any of these tips helpful or if you have any questions. Let's roll. Question number 1. Enter the current static time in cell B5 to be 99,999. Remember, in an Excel or any form of interview, practical question, nobody will give you the whole time in the world to answer your question. So you must be ready to use the shortest possible way to get to your answer. I know there might be several other methods you can use to solve this question, but we are going to be showing you the shortest possible way to get this question solved. This is a large range of cells, so selecting it and dragging your cursor down will be a waste of time. So what you do is go to your name box. We do B5 column B99999. Press your enter key. All the cell will be selected. Without doing any other thing, if you are using a Windows operating system, use Ctrl+Shift semicolon to enter the current time. If you are on a Mac book, Command semicolon will enter the current time in the first selected cell. To ensure this is copied down the whole cells for your answer, press Ctrl Enter, and that's all. You've solved the first question. This is the shortest possible path to solve the first question. Let's move to the second question. Question number 2. Create a list of weekdays between now and the end of October 2024. Today is actually 20th of March. You can see it's taking me time to type this in, and if I drag down, it will include days that fall in your weekends. So I have April 2024 calendar here. You can see 6th and 7th are weekend, which is included here. I will now be deleting. This will waste your time. Remember, you need to ace this interview, so you need to do as much question as you can. So the shortest possible way to go through this is click on the cell where you want to start. The first thing you do is to get today's date without thinking about it. On your key, either you are using a Mac or a Windows key, just do Ctrl semicolon. You have the current date, static date. The next thing you do, while that cell is selected, the cell you have your date, while still on your home tab, you go to Fill. Under Fill, click on Series. So when you are in Series, make sure it might be on Linear. Click on Date. When you are on Date, change day to weekdays. Then come to here, put your stop value, which is the end of October. End of October, that's 10th, 2024. If you want your list to be on a row, but I would prefer my list to be on a column, so I will change the rows to column. Then I click OK. As simple as that. You have all the dates excluding your weekends. So let's go to April again. you will see 6th and 7th, which is a Saturday and a Sunday, is not included. You will also notice 13th and 14th. You move from 12 to 15. You've solved this problem within a short period of time. Let's move to the next question. Question number 3. Remove duplicates within data below. This also has some other ways you can do it. You can select your cells, go to conditional formatting, highlight cells rows, duplicate. So you can see it has selected all the duplicates, but the drawdown to this is if you have maybe any of these similar to what you have above, maybe 7084, it will select this and this as duplicates, though they are not duplicates. And you can see all the Americas are selected as duplicates, but in this case that's not what we want. So you can use this to delete. Okay, you notice that this row, Peru and Peru here, has the same value all through. You can delete it, pick it and delete it, but that's not the way we want to go about it. So what we do now is, the simplest way is go to data tab. You will see your remove duplicates tab on your data tab. Click on your remove duplicates. So it will be asking you what is your rule for the duplicate. Do you want to check through each of the cells, through the rows? You want to check through the rows if all the data, like 80, for example, Peru and Peru here, are all the data all the same? If they are all the same throughout the row, do you want it deleted, or you just want it to check the first column, the second column, or the third column? But in our case, we want it to check all the column and see if all the data are the same. If all the data are the same, then you should delete it. So if you don't want it, you can select which one you want, but in this case we want all. So click OK, and immediately it will tell you 3 duplicates found and removed, 15 unique values. So that's all. This is just the shortest way through it. Let's move to the next question. Question number 4. Question number 4. In cell G5, write an exam note to describe the step taken to answer question 3. So let's move to cell G5. So what are the steps you took to answer question 3 is you click on data tab, then you click on remove duplicates, then you click OK. So to write it, a note is different from a comment. A comment gives the reviewer or who you are sending your Excel file to an answer, where to answer you back. But a note is just something you are sending to your colleague or whoever you are sharing your file with to notify the person about something in your Excel sheet. So one way to do it is to click on your review tab, then you go to notes, click on new notes. But remember, we are trying to use the shortest possible way to answer the question. So instead of going to your review tab, you can just use Shift F2. So what do you want to write in? Click on data tab, then click on remove duplicates. So when you share this file, anytime someone click on cell G5, you will see your notes. Let's move to the next question. So question number 5, change the row-wise data to a column-wise data. You can see they've specified how you want you to change it. Look at the way this one was arranged. Name, ID number, and phone number. Name, ID number, and phone number. Name, ID number, and phone number. And they want you to arrange it here as. You can decide to be typing it one by one, but remember, it's an interview. You don't have all the time in this world. So what you do is use one of the new Excel formula, which is called wrap rules. Select where you need, that's the vector. Wrap counts, how many columns do you want? For that will be 3, and that's all. And you can see everything is arranged where they need to be: the name, the ID number, and the phone number. Now we'll be taking a break from the practical section and we'll dive into answering some of the oral questions we've researched and prepared for you. The oral interviews question and answer series is divided into 4 sections, each section containing 3 questions, each based on extensive research and are used to test your knowledge of different aspects of Excel. The first question series is called Basic Knowledge Test, and it's just to test your very basic knowledge of Excel. Let's start. The first question here is, when will you choose Excel over other analytic tools? You can see some of the answers we provided here. The first one here is, Excel is a good analytic tool when you need quick analysis because its syntax are very easy. So Excel syntax are very easy to understand. You can see when you are writing your formula, you see sum, average, which are very easy to understand. The second one is, Excel is also a good option for analyzing a small data set, and for example, less than 1.5 million cells. Anything more than that, Excel will start misbehaving. The third one here is, Excel is also a good analytic tool when you have data in tabular forms with good headers, no empty rows, no empty columns. When you are working in Excel, you have to have a good tabular form of data. This way you'll be able to work on your data without any error or discrepancy in your answers. Also, the last one here is, better to avoid merge rows, merge columns, and double header. In Excel, it's better to avoid any form of merging of rows when you want to analyze data, because when you merge row, Excel will give you an error because it couldn't read the rows or the cells individually. The second question here is, what is ribbon in Excel? A ribbon is a set of toolbars at the top of your Excel window that allows you to quickly find and understand and use commands for completing certain tasks. So your ribbon is the top bar here, where you can pick command, where you see home, insert, draw, page layout, formulas, data review, and so on. You can also add more, and when you create some other Excel tools, when you use a table, you will see a table tab appear here. When you use chart, you will see chart analyzer, and all the rest will appear on your ribbon too. Lastly, the third question for this first set is, what is a function? A function is a predefined formula in Excel. They perform calculation by supplying the argument in a particular order that is specified. We have so many functions in Excel. We have used some in our previous example. Some of the functions in Excel is sum. You have sum, you have average, you have sum if, you have count if, you have count, you have text. You have so many functions in Excel. They are predefined formula that help you simplify your data analysis in Excel. They help you to simplify it so that you don't have to stress yourself much. Like average, you only need to supply you only need to click all the cells you want to find the average. You don't need to know the count, you don't need to know anything. It will give you the average of those number of cells. So understanding this set of questions will help you in your interview. Let's continue with our practical Excel questions. So question number 6. Change the format style to show measurement units in kg in each cell and calculate the average weight. So here we want to change this weight of each person here to show the unit in kg, and at the same time still be able to use this to do our calculation for average. So what we want to test here is your knowledge of how to use custom format. So what you do is select the cells that contain your weight, then to go to your custom format, just press Ctrl 1. Your custom format dialog box will pop up. Then you go to custom. Here, put a space, then in between your inverted comma, type in your kg, and that's all. click OK. You can see all the values here are now having kg as part of the number. Then you can find your average, and you still have your average weight here. If you have decided to type in, let me show you, maybe 89 kg with your hand, 88 kg, you can see that this immediately is being shown as text, not a number. So if you try to calculate the average of this, it will give you an error because these are not numbers, they are X. So the only way what you can do it and still be able to calculate your average weight with the unit of measurement showing is to use your custom format to adjust the cells. You can also check the link above, the link card above, for more on custom format method that you can apply to your work. So let's go to the next question. Question number 7. Extract days, months, years from the date values. As we've said, there are several ways by which you can get your answer. And when you look at it, there is a note here. We want the days to be written in full, like Tuesday, your months as July. So you can use your text function. You can put your text function, your date value, then since you want it in full, you type your D 4 times. D represents days. If you type it once, it will appear as numbers like 5, 1, like that. But typing it 4 times makes it appear in full. So here we made a mistake with the semicolon, so it's double. So you have it in full. You can copy it down. Same thing with your month. You can also use your next text function, get your value, and you want your month in full. You have 3 or 4 M's. 4 M's. This also, you can drag it down. And you can use either your year or text value for, you can use year or text value for your year. The same way. Four times will also give you the same results. But the truth is our text value can actually take an array as an input. So we can make this our work faster. How do we do that? Instead of typing and getting them one by one, you can just have your text value, your text function, input all the date value. Then for your days, month, and year, because your text can also output an array, you can combine all your format style. So we have our months inside the curly bracket, then your year, so you don't have to repeat the function for each column. With just one function, you can get the answer for all the 4 columns. Let's move to the next question. Question number 8. Calculate the due date of each payment date below. Note, the due date is 1 month after the payment date and must be a work day. Work day is from Monday to Friday. So let's calculate the due date, and the due date is 1 month after the payment date. So this is the payment date 1 month after. You might be tempted to be typing like, okay, this is since it's 1 month after, this is 5th of December 2023. You might be tempted to say maybe January 5, 2024. If you note, this will take you a lot of time typing each date by yourself. So the function that you are going to use here is eDate. So eDate, you have 2 argument the start date, which is this date, and how many months do you want to add to the start date? Just 1 month in this case. So we put 1, and you can see you have January 5, 2024. So you can drag this down to have all your dates. So how do we know if these are weekdays or not? Let's first check if they are all in weekdays. Let's use our text function that we used in the previous example. So let's click on this. Come on. Let's check for days. So this is on a Friday. You can see we have Sunday here, we have Sunday, we have Saturday, we have Saturday. So how do we make sure this ends in a weekday? We click back on our cell. There is a function called workday in Excel. You can see workday, my tab. Workday needs a start date. The start date is what we'll get with our e-date. Then a comma. Normally, workdays requires you to add a day minimum or a number of days for it to be able to do its calculation. But if I put 1 day here, you will notice the first value here before was Friday. It has changed to a Sunday because adding 1 day to Friday will make it a Saturday. Then Saturday will not fall on the weekday. Then it will make it a Monday. But that's not what we want. So let's first Ctrl Z. Let's copy our value here so that we can cross check. Let's paste it here and just paste as value so that it will not be referenced to this again. So let's start again. Workday. You add 1 to it, and this gives you a Monday, which we don't want to change. We want it can still be on the Friday because it's already in a weekday. But if you drag this down, you will notice that all this Saturday and Sunday has really changed. But we don't want those that are already on a work day, like Monday, this one that was on Friday to change to Monday, one like that, this one was on Monday changed to Tuesday. That we don't want. So what you will do is your e-date, subtract 1 from it. If you subtract 1 for it and it will add 1 to it, it will balance it out and it will give you the exact thing you want. If you subtract 1 from it, then by adding 1 to it, it will give you the Friday, while the other days will also work perfectly. You can see this is Friday, we want it on the Friday. The ones that were Sunday here become a Monday, the one that was a Saturday become a Monday, and now we've been able to make all of them a weekday without moving those that were weekday by day again. So let's move to the next question. Question number 9. Combine all the list of names into a single list and ensure if any name is added with the ranges of cell in blue background, it's added to the list. So the question here is, you have to combine this list of names into a single list, and if any other name is added to this list within this blue background, it should be added to your single list. So the right function to use here is called to call. To call. Where is the array? You select the whole of the array to cover every space within the blue background. So the second argument is, do you want to keep all values, ignore blanks, ignore errors, and ignore blanks and error? Ignore blanks, that's 1, comma, then scan by column, or you don't have to put that. Default is scan by row, and that's fine by us. You can see all the list of names. Becky, since we are not told to either scan by, we can just, so if you add a new name, let me add Jamie Lawrence. You can see it is added. Wumi, can see it's added, and to be added where it should be within the list. And that's very easy to solve if you know the right function to use. Let's move to the next question. Question 10. Create a drop-down list of the salesperson in cell H6, order priority in cell J6, and ship mode in cell L6. Whenever you see a drop-down list, one of the easiest ways to do it is using your data validation. But look at this list. This list is a very long list. So for you to be able to extract all the unique names here, instead of going through it, typing them out one by one like that and not making error, for you to be able to extract it, just use your unique formula, and we'll go through this. And you can see you only have 3 names here for your salesperson: Bob, John, and Richard. So we'll go to this, to our salesperson. Go to your data tab, then click on data validation, change it to lists. Then your source will be equals to this, but you don't want it, so you change it to, you remove it from absolute reference, you change it to relative reference, and you put your hash sign. This hash sign shows that whatsoever spilled out of this, this is an array. So anytime, even if a name is changed here, it will spilled out here, and it will also show in your data validation. So you click OK. You can see you have all the 3 names here. So let's assume we change one of the names. Let's change it to James. You can see it's showing here, and when you check your data validation, it will also show there. So let's go back to what we have before. Then you go to your order priority. For your order priority, you do something similar, equals to unique. Those are the, then let's get this one. For the ship mode, unique values too. So we have the unique value for order priority and the ship mode. So let's do our data validation for these 3. Change it to list. Then for your source, click on this. Then let's change it to a relative reference. Then our hash sign. So if you check here, you can see everyone is showing. So let's do the last one. Change it to lists. Let's pick this. Then let's change it to, then put your hash sign. Click OK. So you have your 3 drop-down lists. Let's move to the next question. Oral interview question series 2, formula and function operation knowledge test. This is to test your understanding of how to use formula and functions and how they operate. The first question is, what is the difference between absolute and relative reference? We have several answers to help you understand the difference between absolute and relative reference. The first one is relative reference changes why you copied your formula down or up, while your absolute reference remains the same. The dollar sign is used to lock the cell, column, or row and makes it an absolute reference. So the dollar sign is one that makes your cell or column or row an absolute reference. So the next 4 are example of absolute or relative reference. First one, where you have the dollar sign before the number, means your column is on relative reference while your row is on absolute reference. The second one, where you have only one dollar sign before your alphabet, it means your column is on absolute reference while your row is on relative reference. Where you have 2 dollar sign, one before the alphabet and one before the number, it means both your column and your row are on absolute reference. But when you have no dollar sign at all, it means your column and your row are on relative reference. The second question here is, what is the order of operators used in evaluating formulas in Excel? When you are evaluating formulas in Excel, we use in common mathematics acronym PEMDAS. That's when you have your parenthesis first. Your formula evaluates what is inside your parenthesis first before it evaluates your exponential, then evaluates multiplication and divisions together, then addition and subtraction together. So that's the order of operations for your operators when applied in your Excel formulas. The last one here is, what function do you find most useful? So here you have the opportunity to talk about function you can use very well, you are comfortable using. Remember not to mention any function that you are not familiar with, in case you will be tested on what you say. So any function you are very familiar with, that you use often, this is where you talk about it and you give your explanation on how to use it. Let's go back to our practical sections. Question 11, we are moving on very fine. Create a formula in H10 for the total sales of any salesperson selected in cell H6. So you have a drop-down list here. You can select any salesperson. So what we are asked to do is to create a formula here that whenever a name is selected here, it will show the total sales made by the person. So the function to use here is SUMIF. So the SUMIF is, where do you want to the first one is the range you want to compare your criteria with, which is our salesperson. You want to know the total sales by each salesperson. So what will be our criteria is whatever is in cell H6. Let's make it cell H6. Whatsoever is in cell H6. And sum range, what do we want to sum? Our sales amounts. And that's all. You can see we have no value here because we've not selected anything. So when we change it to, let's pick Bob, you can see this is total sales made by Bob within this period. So let's make it, let's bold it. So this is total sales made by Bob. If you change this to John, the value change. If you change it to Richard, is 1.4 million. Bob is 1.1, while John is 1.13. So you solve this question. Let's move to the next question. Question 12. Create a formula in cell J10 to count the number of sales made by the order priority selected in cell J6. So whenever you select another priority here, you want to see the count of sales made by that number of order priority. So here, this question is similar to the last question, but the function we'll be using here is count if. So what is the range we'll be counting? We are counting our order priority here. And what is our criteria? Our criteria is this cell. Whenever you select any value there, it should give you your order priority. Now we are not saying anything because we've not selected any order priority. If you pick not specified, it means 409 value were shipped based on this order priority. So let's pick another one. I 389, you can see it change. Low 383, critical 413. This shows that our formula is working perfectly. Now we are halfway through, so let's move to the next question. Question 13. Create a formula in H14 to calculate the total sales per salesperson and order priority in cell H6 and J6 respectively. So what we are saying is, if we change the salesperson or the order priority, we should be able to have the total sales made by Richard using his medium order priority. Since we are looking for total sales, we will use our SUMIFs formula. SUMIFs, where we can specify multiple criteria. So the first thing you'll be specifying is your sum range. What do you want to sum? We'll specify our sum range. Then criteria 1, salesperson. Total sales made per salesperson. So let's pick our salesperson. The criteria range 1 is our salesperson. So the criteria itself is whatever is selected here. So whatever we select here, then we want the criteria range 2, which is our order priority. So we'll come here, we'll pick order priority. Then what is the criteria itself? Whatever is selected in this cell J6. So now let's check if our formula is working. Bob, when this is what is sold using a medium order priority, let me hold it. If you change this order priority to not specified, it sold 194k. Change it to I, it sold 280k. So if you want to check what John sold at I order priority is 173. If you want to see what Richard sold at I order priority, you'll see it here. So this is just an expanded problem on what we've been doing from question number 11. Thank you. Let's move to the next question. Question 14. Calculate the sales amount by each quarter in 2020. If you want to calculate the sales amount by each quarter, the best way to go about it is to use your pivot table. And if you check, our data is formatted as a table, so that's very easy to format to a pivot table. So we go to the Insert tab, then click on Pivot Table. You can see it's already picking it, which is as table 12. Do you want your pivot table in a new worksheet? No, we want it in an existing worksheet, and we can pick anywhere in our current worksheet for our pivot table to stay. So we click OK. So now we have our pivot table. We want sales amount by each quarter. So let's first drag our sales amount to the value field, then drag our date to the row field. So you can see, if you check your date here, you don't have it grouped by month, but your pivot table has given us an initial format of grouping it, and is grouping it by month. But what we want is for it to group it by each quarter. So what we do is you right click on any part of this date value, right click, you will see group, then click on your group, then you can change what you want your selection to be. So I want to select quarters and months so that we can collapse or expand the tab. So click on this, and you can see it has grouped our data by each quarter. So we can collapse it to just see the sales amount by each quarter. So we can also decide to format this well, so we can see the sales amount by each quarter. Let's move to the next question. Question 15. Calculate the percentage difference from the previous quarter. So this is a continuation of our previous example for question 14. So what we do now is we drag the sales amount for the second time into our value. Let's change the headings to percentage difference. Let's right click on anywhere within this column. We go to show value as, then click on more option. Show data as, go to percentage difference. We are comparing by our quarter here, percentage difference between each quarter. So you click on quarter here, then you could click on previous here. Make sure you select quarter and previous, then you click OK. Then you can see this has changed it to percentage difference. The difference between this and this, because this went down from 1.2 to 870k, is a negative percentage, and this moved up a little again. That's why you have 19% increase. So you have solved that of percentage difference between previous quarter. Let's move to the third series on the oral interview section. Oral interview question series 3, lookup knowledge test. So here we'll be testing your knowledge about lookup. The first question is, what is the syntax of VLOOKUP Excel function? The first answer here shows the exact syntax. That's VLOOKUP into lookup value, table array, column index number, and your range lookup. But you don't have to give the answer this exact way. If you can't remember how it was written, you can give your answer using the second option here. In the simplest form, you can explain it. VLOOKUP into the first value you are looking for is what you are looking for. That's the first input. Then the second one is the table that contains what you are looking for. The third one is the column index of what your output should be. Then the last argument you are supplying is maybe you want an exact lookup or an approximate lookup. The second question is, what are the limitations of VLOOKUP and what are the alternative functions to use? We have so many alternative functions to use. You have your XLOOKUP, then match and index. You can use those as alternative for VLOOKUP. But the limitations of VLOOKUPs that we have here, VLOOKUP only look to the right of your array. You can't look to the left of your array. You can only look to the right of your array. Then the second one is VLOOKUP only find the first match. You can only use it to look for the first match in your array. Even if you have more than one match, whenever it sees the first match, it will output the answer. Then the third one is VLOOKUP is not case sensitive. You can use any case while looking up. Either they are small case, you are using a small case for your VLOOKUP for the value, lookup value. It will still output whenever it sees anything that looks like it. Then the fourth one here is VLOOKUP is if a column is inserted anywhere in the lookup table, it will give you an error message. So when you insert a column in between your table, it changes the column index number, which will make VLOOKUP to give you an error message. The third question, how would you look up a combination of two fields? There are several ways you will go through it, and we'll cite some example here. You can use your index and match with VLOOKUP or XLOOKUP. You can use and to concatenate within your XLOOKUP to search for two values, and you can also combine filter function with XLOOKUP. You can use an helper column to find one field. So these are like 4 methods you can use, but if you want to see more, you can check within the description for videos that will be suggested to you on where we use two value for a lookup array to look for two fields. Let's move back to practical section of the interview. Question 16. Create a chart to show the sales by each month in the first quarter. So we have to create a chart to show the sales by each month in the first quarter. We can also still use this as a pivot table. If you look at it, the pivot table has already grouped our data by month. So what we do is, let's first filter out all other quarter and leave only the first quarter. Yeah. So we only have the first quarter here, and you can see the months. So you go to your pivot table analyzer, then look for pivot chart. Just click on your pivot chart. Immediately you have the sales by month in each quarter. If you want to do more formatting on your chart, you can format your chart more. But what we want is just to see by each month in the first quarter, and this is what we have. Thank you. Let's move to the next question. Question 17. Calculate the sum of the top 5 score in cell H6. I will show you two different ways you can solve it, but one of it is will show you understand Excel more than every other person. So you can select the whole cell, you can select the whole of this cell and go to your conditional formatting, click on top row, You can say top 5 items, and you can see you pick the top 5 items, and you can now do, since you are looking for the sum of the top 5 items, you can do sum, then be typing in these numbers one by one, sum, or you select the cells, each cell like that, but that won't be the method we'll be using here. So I will show you another way that you can do it. One, there is a way to pick any large number here. You can pick the second large number, the third large number by using the Excel function large. If I want the first, let's pick this array. If I want the first large number or the max total score, I'll put 1, which is 87. If I want the next number, I'll put 4, I'll put 2, which is 84. That way you can get the first 5 large number top scores here. But how do we now put this together? Remember, we have another Excel function called sequence, which can generate you can use it to generate numbers between 1 and 5. So since we want the first 5 numbers, sequence of 5 will give you 1 and 5. So what we do now is, in our large formula, let's write our large formula again. The array is this, where you have k, the value, you use your sequence to generate, sequence function to generate the first 5 top value, and you have it here: 87, 84, 82, 82, and 81. So for you to now get the sum of the top 5 value, what you just need to do is, let's come here, let's copy this. We don't need to write it again. Then we use our sum to sum what we have here, and if you sum this manually, you will discover the answer is also 416. Let's move to the next question. Question number 18. Calculate the average of the lowest 5 total score. This is similar to the last the last question we just solved. So let's go for the average of the lowest. So here we'll be using the Excel function small. Small can pick the lowest score or any of the lowest score. So the same way, we'll use sequence to get the last 5 value here, and we'll have the average. So this will be the average of the last 5 value here. So let's use another method to cross-check our answer. So let's select the whole of this. Let's use our conditional formatting, top bottom rules. So bottom 10 items, let's change it to 5, bottom 5 items, okay, and this is selected. Because we have 75 twice here, that's why it's selecting 6 items. That's another downside of using conditional formatting here. You can't pick one of it. So let's pick average. So we'll pick 3 here because we have 75 twice. Then we'll pick 1 here and this. You can see. Let me show you. So you see that is the same value. So you can use any method you like, but this other method will show that you understand Excel more. Let's move to the next question. Question 19. Create a dynamic sort that shows only the name and total score. Then add data, this, to the original data table. So we have to create a dynamic source that if we add any data to our data table, it will show this also. So what we'll do here is, the first thing we'll do is to format this as a table so that it can automatically add anything to this place. So let's format it as a table. Let's use okay. So we have formatted it as a table. So we want to do a dynamic sort just to pick out only the name and the total score. So we sort this table by the total score. That's the sort index 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's 5. We have it. But here what we want is only the name and the total score. But here we can see it's bringing out everything. So to get the name and the total score, what we'll do is this sort now will be wrapped in another function called choose calls. Choose call. So we'll select the columns we want. The column we want is column 1 and column 5. So 1, 5. And you can see we have only this first column and the last column, which is the total score. And for your sort, if you want, this is sorting currently in the ascending order. That's from the lowest to the highest score. But if you want your sort to change the order, you can come to your sort and change it to descending order, which is -1 here. And you can see the highest score comes first. So let's add something to the new name to our data, and he has 8, 7 and 17. So the addition of this one will give you what you have here, which will be 85. And you can see immediately it is being added to our list and sort dynamically. 85 take him to the second on the list of scores, and that is added to our list dynamically without we changing our formula. So let's move to our question 20. Question 20: create a unique list of the list of basketball players and the list of the team they played for or playing for. So, and this is the example here. Like if you have James Harden here, you should create the list like this. So you can decide to go through it and be typing it out one by one. Still, Steph Curry, Golden State Warrior, LeBron James, Los Angeles Lakers, but that will take your time. So what you do is, one, you can get the list of basketball players using your unique function. So just select the array and we'll give you all the unique list of the basketball players which you have here. Then, to know the teams they play for, you can use your filter. So which array do you want to filter? Is this? That's the list. What do you want to include when the name is equals to whatever name you have here? And you can see Steph Curry have only played for one team, but when we drag this down, you will see LeBron James have played for 3 teams, which are spilled over into Kevin Durant and Giannis' space. So to solve this, what we need to do is, if the list is more than one, if a player has played for more than one team, or what you need to do is you add what we call an array to test here. What an array to test do is you wrap this inside an array to test. What an array to test do is, anytime you have an array, you will turn it to a text value separated by comma. So For Steph Curry, because he has only played for one team, you will not notice any difference. But when we drag this same one down here, you will notice that for LeBron James, it has changed it to the array to a list of text. So we can just copy this down and you will see you have every one of them written out the way you want it. So you see Kevin Durant, and those that just have only one, we have only one in the list. So let's move to the next set of questions. Oral interview question series 4, which is titled Experience Test. This is the last of our oral interview series, and this is to test your experience using Excel. The questions are: how have you used pivot table? The second one is: what is your experience in using Excel to manipulate and analyze data? Then the third one is: tell me about the Excel work you are most proud of. These 3 questions requires you to answer based on your experience. I will advise you to use STAR method of answering the interview questions. The STAR method is an acronym for situation, task, action, and result. STAR method means you describe the situation, the task that you have at hand, the action you take or you took, and the result that it gave. Let me give an example to answer the first question. You are approached by the sales manager in your company to help analyze the sales data. He wants to know how the salesman performed during the year that just passed. That's the situation. Your task is to analyze the sales data and provide how each salesman performed by month, by each quarter. Action. The action you took is to pivot the data using your pivot table, and you analyze the data using the sales date, and you are able to group the data using your pivot table by month and by quarter, and you are able to see each salesman how they make profit. And from the pivot table, the result is you can see which salesman is performance is improving and which salesman performance is dropping. Let's start the last practical section of our interview questions and answers. Question 21 to 24. The first question is: freeze the first row or pin. So what we do is we go to our view tab. Under your view tab, you see freeze top row. You click freeze top row and you can see your top row is frozen, so it doesn't leave your screen. Then the next question is: change the fill color of the first row to blue in all 21 worksheets. You can decide to be going from one worksheet to the other and be changing the fill color to blue, but there is another way you can do it. Select one of the last, as we have selected the last one here. We'll scroll till we get to the first one. You can see the color, they are being selected. Then we click on our first row. Then we'll go to our home tab. Then we'll change the color to blue. And when you click on any one of them, you can see they've all changed to blue just by one click. Question 23. Set up this current worksheet to print on a single page, and it should be landscape. So the first thing is, let's go to our page layout. Let's change our page settings from portrait to landscape. We've changed it to landscape. Then we go to our view tab. To be sure that the whole thing will appear on a single page, come to your page break. You can see this blue dotted line showing that is breaking this into page 1, page 2, and page 3 this way. So you can drag the first one and drag it to the end, and it's showing. This will ensure that the whole of these things is being printed out on a single page. So let's go back to normal. Then the last question is to protect this worksheet. How do we protect this worksheet? We click on the worksheet, then you click on protect worksheets. If you want to put password, you can put a password. Let me just put a password. Select So you can select anything you want. Select locked cell, select unlocked, any other thing you want to add to it, you add to it. Let's click OK. Okay, we've not verified our password. Okay, and that's it. You see a symbol that your current worksheet has a protection by seeing this padlock symbol. So if anybody want to access or make any changes to this worksheet, you can see you cannot do anything except if you unlock the worksheet. Right click, then you can unprotect by putting the password. You have to unlock the password using the password to make any changes to the worksheet. And that wraps up our journey through some of the most common Excel interview questions and their answers. We hope you found this video helpful in preparing for your next interview. Remember, practice makes perfect. Keep honing your Excel skills, reviewing these questions and exploring new techniques. With preparation and confidence, you will ace that interview. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more career tips, interview strategies and Excel tutorials. Hit that notification bell so you never miss out on our latest contest. Do you have any question or you want to share your own interview experience? We would love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and let's keep the conversation going. Lastly, a big thank you to all of our viewers for your support and engagement. We appreciate each and every one of you. Until next time, keep sharpening those Excel skills and best of luck with your future interviews. Thanks for watching.